All of this has been narrated by Tawus from Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma. The second thing that should be remembered is that there were also 10 things mentioned to the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam as well. 6 things regarding the person of the human being, and 4 things regarding the most sacred place. And some of this is repeated. The 6 things mentioned about the person are, firstly, the shaving of the pubic region. Secondly, the cutting of underarm hair. Thirdly, the clipping of fingernails and toenails. Fourth, clipping or paring the mustache. Then it is the use of the toothstick. Making ghusl after sexual intercourse. On the day of Jumu'ah. The 4 things in the most holy place are tawaf around the Kaaba, sa'i, or the walking and movement between Safa and Marwa, the stoning of the idols, and the final tawaf. This was narrated from Ibn Abbas by Hanash ibn Abdullah. The third thing that should also be remembered is that he was also told about the places from where the Hajj should be conducted when the people assume the ihram. As said by Qatada from Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu. Close quote. So when Imam Al-Jawzi rahimahullah says he was given 5 statements, the 5 statements are 5 separate groups of things. So I don't want anyone to get confused because they've written down the 6th and they thought, wait a minute, he said 3rd. Well, it's because there are 5 sets of things. Now we've just finished the 3rd of the 5 sets of things. So within the 3rd one, there was the statement that's the manasik. The 2nd statement was all the other things inside of that. So maybe when I go back to it, I'll say the fourth set of things and then mention the things with the fifth set of things, just to make it easy for everyone to understand, because there's a lot of information here. And this information was given to the Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, so we can write it down. He had to remember this and take this as revelation from Allah. Okay. Imam Al-Jawzi rahimahullah, he says, quote, "The fourth of the group of 5 that Ibrahim was given is that he was tested regarding his knowledge about the placement of the stars, the sun, the moon, immigration from one place to another, fire, the dream of slaughtering his son, and circumcision for the males." All of this quoted from Al-Hasan. The fifth of the group of statements that he was told was he was tested and given every point that was to be mentioned in the revelation of the Qur'an. For example, the statement when he said, رَبِّ اجْعَلْ هَذَا الْبَلَدَ آمِنًا, my Lord, make this land safe and a refuge. Surah Ibrahim, Ayat 35. This and similar statements like it are quoted by Muqatil. So these, according to others, these statements that he was given, these were also actions that he had to complete, these things that were mentioned to him. He had to complete these actions. He did as Allah had told him, and Allah assisted him. Now the statement that is mentioned, in which it was said, وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ, that statement, it is narrated from Imam Abu Hanifa rahimahullah. The statement is mentioned, he recites وَإِذْ يَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ the same way in the statement وَإِذْ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ, but he says وَإِذْ ابْتَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبَّهُ, which is a slight difference because of the recitation that had been handed down to those that came to Al-Kufa. And when Ibrahim answered the call of his Lord, when he answered that call, he took him as his Khalil, his close friend. Hence Ibrahim al-Khalil, or Khalil-ur-Rahman. When he mentioned in his dua, and include my progeny in the covenant, there are two statements regarding the use of his word progeny. You must remember that Allah the Exalted brought all of the creation out of the back of Adam. But Ibrahim was not referring to all of them, but only to his specific progeny. The covenant that was given, there are 7 things that have to be remembered about the covenant that he was given. One is the position of Imam over his people, as narrated by Abu Salih from Ibn Abbas. This is also the statement of Mujahid and Sa'id ibn Jubayr. Secondly, it is that he should be obeyed by those that he came to, as said by Ad-Dahhak from Ibn Abbas. Thirdly is Ar-Rahmah, the mercy that was given, as said by Ata and Ikrimah. Fourthly, it is the deen that is to be taught to others, as stated by Abu al-Aliya. And fifthly, it is the successive line of prophethood through him, as said by As-Sudai and narrated from his sheikhs. Sixthly, should also be remembered that it is referring to the trust he has been given over that land. As said by Abu Ubaidah. Seventh, it is the covenant that Allah had originally made with him, as said by Ibn Qutaybah. And the fourth position is the more well-known. The first position is the more well-known. Excuse me. The meaning of the Zalimeen mentioned by Allah from his offspring or progeny here, there were 2 groups of people that were discussed. One is the unbelievers from amongst his progeny. As said by Ibn Jubayr and As-Sudai. And secondly, the disobedient ones from his progeny, as said by Ata. Close quote. Now this is referring to 2 points. The Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam had 2 sons, Ismail and Ishaq. Ismail had 12 sons. These 12 kings spread out into the Sinai Peninsula, which was incorporated into Egypt before the 20th century. But the Sinai is actually part of Arabia. It's part of Arabia. And the Arabian Peninsula itself, that whole thing, Arabia, both Yemens, Oman, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, all of that is Arabia. And they made that place their home, which is why it's called Jazirat al-Arab, the island of the Arabs. And that is where the Arabs spilled out into the rest of the world from there. All of the Arabs go back to Arabia. Ishaq had his sons, Esau and Yaqub alayhi salam. And Yaqub had 12 sons.